Welcome to the Impact Effect podcast. I am fired up because we have one of my favorite human beings in the building today. And we're over at Music City Work Club in the Honeypod podcast studio, which is another amazing asset that has come into my life with amazing people and amazing folks. So if you need a podcast and you're in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City Work Club, come check out the Honeypod. All right, let's get back to Impact Effect podcast. As you know, I always ask the same question. How do you define impact and show up in this world today and provide positive impact? Mr. Brian Galke.
Thank you, Jim. First, thanks for having me back down again. So this is my third time to Nashville for us to hang out, right?
Yeah, man.
Impact 23. Oh, and actually, well, no, this is my fourth time. Impact Effect 23. Then we had to come back where the Q&A with the speakers. Then Impact Effect 2024. Right now, this one.
So let's go, baby. Let's go.
And I think that's relevant because impact, the only way you can do it is to show up, right? And that's the whole thing. It doesn't matter what you're showing up for, is when people need you or people ask you to do something, show up and do it. And that's what we talked about is we were coming in town for this event that was coming in, and you said, let's do something together. And so what happened today is we went to the gym, right? We went to the sauna. Gym first, sauna second, right? Then we're here recording this. We're going to do the dinner tonight. All those things are required, time together, showing up, spending time with other people, and how do you impact that? It's all the way down. I have an 8-year-old. So with my 8-year-old, it's time with her. That's one of the things, like she had something called the Jingle Bell Run at school. And when she did it, I was there a little bit late. There was circumstances that got me there later, but I made it to watch her run, right? And her seeing you there is what put a big smile on her face, right? And then she ran a little faster. And that's what we need sometimes is we need somebody else to show up for us. So we push ourselves harder. And I think that's where impact comes in is, when you're there in service of other people, everybody gets more out of it.
Let's go. Let's go, man. Showing up for your people. I mean, how many times have you been navigating this thing we call life, and someone's invited you to do something or asked you to support them, and you didn't feel like showing up, right? You didn't feel like getting ready or making that commute or going the extra mile, the extra step, and then you do it, and you see the ripple effect, the positive change, the positive impact. And I'm not saying that with your kid by any means, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to events, when it comes to supporting friends, when it comes to connection, I feel like the first step is actually showing up and supporting.
Absolutely. Well, there's a term I was recently introduced to called body doubling. And body doubling is where if you need to work on a project and you show up in a room with another person, you naturally work harder than if you work alone in silence. And so I was introduced to that term. And I was like, let me research this. It's kind of one of those, I don't know if it's really real. But you look at the studies, and there is something about human connection. When you're in the room with people, you don't even have to be talking to people, but when you're surrounded by people, we focus and do things more. So there's a weird, collective hybrid mind that we have that when we isolate, like if you look at, if your kid's in trouble or if you're the worst of prisoner, what do? We put people in timeout. We take people out of your lives, right? You're in trouble, go to your room. That is where you have to spend time in isolation. If you're the worst of the worst inmate, what do you get? Solitary confinement. So if you look, what's the opposite of that? It's being around people, right? That's a reward that we should all get. And sometimes we're all lazy, like, my couch is comfortable, or I don't really want to get dressed to go do that. But good things happen when you show up.
Totally, man. I never thought of the kid to time out. like obviously solitary confinement, right? It's like put someone in the dungeon, let them not see anybody and they'll go kind of crazy and hopefully learn from, whatever your opinion is on solitary confinement. But I never thought about that with children and time out. It just kind of has been ingrained in my mind. And my kids aren't even old enough yet to put them in timeout. Right. So with that piece, do you think there's an opportunity where you spend too much time around people?
Oh, it depends on the person, right? Are you an introvert? Do you need time to go and recharge by yourself? Or are you somebody that you get jazzed up by being around people? So it's an individual person. Does it help them or does it hurt them? Now, there is a giving too much of yourself to other people to where you're not taking care of yourself. And we see it in people all the time, people with bags under their eyes because they're so busy taking care of everyone else, but they don't take care of their own self-health. And then what happens? Their health fades, and then they can't show up for others in the long run. So I do think you have to balance it out of what makes you happy as a person. Like, I love to be around people, got into town last night, went out to the Broadway, because I'm a tourist, right? I live in Dallas. And it was just being around people and listening to music. I can listen to music at home. I can listen to music on YouTube. It doesn't matter. But it's being out, seeing people live. Some of that, it jazzes people up. But if you're being forced to go to something, here's my simple answer. Go because you can always leave, but leave when you're ready, right? Like I have FOMO. I end up staying out way too late, staying at places too long. And sometimes that's detrimental. I got into the Whoop about 8 months ago, and it's constantly bickering at me. So last night, it's like, you only got 21% good sleep, 56% good sleep. But what was it? I forget what they call it. But like it was bad sleep at the same time, like recharge levels or whatever is at 21%.
Yeah.
Now it's going to drive me nuts what the name is called. I know this is the worst faux pas in here. Recovery rate. Yeah.
Recovery rate.
Yeah. It's 21%. So I was out too late, right? But I slept in today to a degree. But yeah, so I do think you can overdo it by showing up for other people. Now, if you're showing up because it helps you, good. But if you're showing up just to be around or just to make somebody else happy, that's when it goes detrimental.
Totally. And I want to bring it back real quick about what you said about our experience today, right? You flew in from Dallas, you went out, you got some steak, you saw Broadway last night, you came in, we did the sauna, we did the workout, we did the lunch, I invited Dr. Justin Mosley to come hang out with us, right? It's all about that experience. And I believe those opportunities, especially when you bring in those wellness components, really deepen that connection, right? And a friend of mine was telling me recently, it's natural for me, right? Like to think about that and to create this experience and to spend quality time with people is natural. So for most people, they may not be thinking of those things. They may not be thinking strategically of, well, how can we bring this component in with the body and the wellness? How can we, use our voice today and record this podcast? How can we talk about mindset? How can we talk about life and just not business, right? Those things need to be more strategic, especially because you talked about introverts versus extroverts and time consumption. Right? You shared a story with me previously with your good friend who unfortunately had passed recently. And you were telling me how he had to go charge himself back up after a speaking gig or after a lot of engagement. But he knew himself and he knew what he needed to do in order to show up fully in those moments. Those little micro miracle moments of opportunity to connect.
Right. And so his name was Steve Sims. And that was one of the funniest things is sometimes people think speakers are snobs because they get off stage and they disappear. That's what our talk was in the sauna. And until I met, like I'm an introvert until somebody like give me a microphone or something, then I'm good. Right. And then when I get off stage, I'm excited. I want to talk to people. Steve, when he was done, he left everything on the stage. So he needed to go back and either hide in his hotel room or his bar or head to the bar and just like, get away from people, decompress from it, and then he would come back and meet people again. But if he had been inauthentic and just went into shaking hands and kissing babies and everything, then what would happen is he would have worn himself down and he wouldn't have shown up the way he did after he got to go recharge and then come back to the moment.
Totally. And it's been interesting too. A lot of learning for me around introverts. My wife's an introvert. I'm clearly not, but she is, and she's really helped me kind of understand the mindset around it. And then as I study human connection and coach and teach and share, I found this term ambivert. Are you familiar with that?
Yes. It's a fun one.
I was going to say, so you're charged about things you love, but you still need that recharging period.
Well, it's different. Like when I come into an event, let's say like the event that we're going to be here on Tuesday for, I would take the chair in the back corner of the room for several reasons. One is I can't sit for very long. I have to get up, stand up, whatever. But also because I was just like, okay, I'll be over here. If somebody wants to come talk to me, I'm cool. But it was that initial, like getting out of my bubble is always weird for me. That's part of the reason why the vest is my like brand. Well, I can go to other people's events. Somebody will come up and talk to me and go, are you the face decoding guy? I'm like, yeah. And so then somebody has a reason to come talk to me, right? Last night on Broadway, I have a jacket I bought in New Orleans. It's very sparkly. People come up talk, be like, that's a cool jacket. I'm like, yeah, I got it in New Orleans. And then it got me talking to people because otherwise I'd just kind of sit with my drink and like people watching because that's what I love doing for a living, right? I'm just like, hey, what do they do? Try to figure out what people are about.
Totally.
I want to go back to something you talked about earlier that I think may have flown past people. And you're talking about human connection. Most people, when they come to town, like say for a speaking event, something like this, they go, oh, I want to go to dinner with one person, not let's set up dinner for 8 people. And that's what you set up is you said, hey, we're coming in. Instead of let's just meet Justin, you're like, let's have a dinner. Let's interact with people. Let's help people while we're here. Experiences, shared experiences is what creates connection with people. That's why the military is so strong, because if you've been through something, boot camp, something else with someone else, and you have shared experiences last longer in terms of memories, connection, you name it. And that's what you're very good at, is just like, you could have said, hey, come to the podcast. No, it's, hey, let's do the gym. Hey, let's do the sauna. Let's go to lunch with people. And you weren't trying to bogart just you and I time. You're looking like, what's the best use of time?
Yes.
And that's really what your strong suit is. And that's where the human connection part that you're looking at and you're helping people with is, this is good. How can we make it better? And experiences are always better. And like with my daughter, she's got birthday presents and Christmas presents. She still hasn't opened. But if you ask her about Disney World when she was 5, she remembers that. You know what I mean? So we all remember experiences and things we've done with people, not necessarily what they gave us. Now, of course, if it's something very sentimental, or everybody remembers their engagement ring or their wedding ring or when this happened, but that was still an experience, not just a thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's interesting too, because you talk about kids, but I think that is every walk of life, every age, right? I remember, bringing the kids over to Caitlin's grandmother's, and, she's almost 90 years old, and she still talks about that experience, because a 88-year-old woman is still walking around holding a little baby, right? And she doesn't get that, and that's not something that comes often. So for her to have that experience and be able to regurgitate that, especially at an older age, it's just it just proves that no matter what age, no matter whatever experiences are those moments in life that you can continue to memorize or continue to experience again and again, over and over. And to do that with others, it just solidifies that experience to be something that is sentimental.
Absolutely. Well, that's how memories are created. I got my daughter to give to my mother or her grandmother a book that's from my daughter to ask my mom about her family growing up and things. So it's for my daughter to learn about her grandmother. And it's all questions about experiences. And there's a cool card deck you can get called Tales, Tales. You can buy it on Amazon. It's like $15, but you get to ask questions to people in the room. And we used to do an event called Wine Down Wednesday. I live in Dallas, Texas. There was this one bar that had half off wine on Wednesdays. And we got groups together. And what we realized was people just wanted to show up and complain about their job, about their significant other, who they're dating. Woe is me. And it got to be negative. So people stopped showing up. So we said, reset. You have to show up. No complain about your job. No complain about your romantic life. And bring a life event to the table. And when you ask somebody, like, what's a cool thing that I don't know about you? You get to learn so much about people. It's amazing.
Totally. So, talking about card games, Brian.
Yes.
I'm releasing a card game called How Deep.
Yes.
And as I was going through building those questions, building those things that are unique and get you to really think back, one of the things that I realized was how you ask a question can bring up negative things, especially if it's something that's happened in the past. So as I was building this game, it's 56 cards. I was going through and I was doing small groups. We're talking about being around people again.
Yes.
And what I learned in those small groups was, this question keeps bringing up a negative occurrence, or this question keeps bringing up navigating the group down a road that doesn't really feel good. So by going through that and testing it and working with people here in Nashville, what I realized was, I had to change a couple questions because how it's positioned, I want that game to incur happiness. I want that game to incur human connection, right?
So it's kind of funny. We're getting into this. You haven't seen my slide yet, but one of the things that we're going to talk about at dinner tonight is the way you ask a question makes a huge difference too. Like, why are you wearing that hat? Is different from, how'd you decide to wear that hat? I'm asking the same question. But when you ask somebody a why question, immediately we think, why'd you do this? Right? Or here's for everybody here, why? But when you ask how, it's like, how? So even the way you start the question, all the hostage negotiator books, negotiation, don't ask why questions, because why in people think to blame, right? But when you ask how questions, how'd you come to that? Versus why did you do that? It makes a difference. Yeah. See?
Okay. Hold on. Everybody go back, rewind, because that is something that will change your life right there. I have not picked up on that. Wow. Thank you for that nugget, man. Thank you for that nugget.
When you read it.
Because I even will say why and not try to be a dick. I'm actually curious.
Yes, but it's the way it's perceived.
Perception.
Like, do you want to, and this will be a different example using body language. This is what they teach hotels. If you say, where's the bathroom? They don't go, it's over here. They go, it's like this.
Open.
Because this is bad. This is pointing. Oh, no, there you go.
Yep.
But this is fine. So we have to watch it with our words, too.
Dude, hands. All right, we're gonna go into all of it.
Yes.
I've seen a
I
mark.
thought you do the Janine.
Oh, that was subconsciously. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I saw an interview with Zuckerberg,
Mhm.
and he did a bunch of interviews when Facebook was blowing up, and his hands were always down,
Yes.
like on the table
Yeah.
or underneath. And they were talking about it, how, the open palm, if you sit here, you do the steeple, do this. When you talk, it's more opening, it's more engaging.
Right.
And they literally showed like 10 interviews in a row. And then now you see Zuckerberg, right? And he's working out in UFC, and he's got, long tees on, and
Cool again.
he's cool, and he's always talking like this, and he doesn't look like an alien. Well, he still looks like an alien, but not so much. And it really is interesting to see, because to me, he was coached.
Yeah.
And he was coached by someone who knew exactly what they were doing,
Let's see. Look.
Did you coach him, Brian?
I wish. Hey, I made a lot of money on Meta this week. I just saw my invoice. I made 8 cents. So I'm going to retire soon.
Follow it.
Yes, off social media.
Yeah. Thank you, Marky Mark. Yeah. Appreciate it.
It's funny because when we're in podcasts, like we were talking about, we want our hands visible, because the minute any of us do this, then it's, what's going on? Subconsciously, we're still animals to a degree. There's a really good book called The Like Switch that says when a stranger enters a room, the first thing we do is we look at their eyebrows for recognition. Are they raised in recognition, or are they furrowed like a foe? And after that, we go look at hands. So we pay a lot of attention to hands and what's going on. Now, there's another book called 7-Minute X-Ray, 6-Minute X-Ray by Chase Hughes. I can't remember, it's 6 or 7 minutes. And they talk about distal extension. And what that is when people feel comfortable, they'll spread their hands out. When people don't, they'll pull back.
Ooh.
So we're always thinking like, don't hurt me. Well, this means I feel comfortable. I feel safe. This is,
What's this? What am I doing with my hands right now?
oh, you're fine with you. Now, if you do this, right, it's nervous when you do it. That's why Janine and them teach this.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want open palm. So Rene Rodriguez, he always talks about the zone of influence.
Yeah.
That is from here down, is you always want to keep your hands in that area.
Yeah.
You can go pick up anybody that teaches speaking stuff. That's what they teach, is open palms. This isn't a threat. This is a threat. This is a threat.
You know how I learned to keep it in that zone of influence?
How's that?
My wife would shoot me not shoot me, but she would,
I
shoot
was
me on a
comment.
I think she wants to.
Whole other subject.
Yeah. That could be its own podcast. No, I love my wife, and she's absolutely amazing. Caitlin's such a gem and such my rock in life. But I would have her zoom in, so she'd shoot content. And if I was using my hands, because at first I would do this and this and I'm a big like shifter.
Grandiose gestures. Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to use any of that content. So we would sit down and do like a 2-hour shoot, and she would zoom in so much to where, because usually you do like a wide frame and then you cut.
Yep.
She was like, no, we're going to zoom right in. So it forced me to talk like this. And instead of this, I'm now having conversations. And even when I shift left to right, I'm now moving my shoulders more rather than way out here.
Right.
So it's like it's like a dance, man, but it takes practice. It takes so much practice to just consistently do it.
And see it do it. And that's the challenge is most people maybe have taken a body language class, maybe in high school if they took psychology. I'm a psychology minor, communication studies major. And we talked about body language in a bunch of different books, but then people forget about it. Then you go back to 2020, 2021, COVID, everybody's locked in their house. Body language went to, can I cuss her? Shit, right? It just went horrible because people got doing Zoom calls, not even wearing pants. They're like wearing a dress shirt, and they might have boxers on down below. And everybody's body language went so bad. And that's why we get into rooms again and people are still kind of awkward and trying to figure out what to do with each other. And so now more people are like this, yeah. And so it's interesting how the world is, but soft skills, body language, statement analysis, decoding faces, all these things are what are going to help you stay employed, because right now up to 30% of jobs are going to be replaced by AI or automation. Up to 60% of tasks that used to be involved with a job are being replaced by AI and automation. That's one of the things we're going to talk about on Tuesday is it's good. You need to be using AI. I'm not anti-AI.
Yeah.
But you need to be improving your people skills, not just your prompting skills.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
mic drop.
Yeah.
Improve your people skills, not your prompting skills.
I
I like that, man.
I just thought about that. I'm going to go and get it.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about facial decoding a little bit here. Let's talk about some body language stuff.
Sure.
My question to you, Brian, is what's the most important thing you've learned through this journey of acquiring these new skills and testing them out and changing lives? I mean, the stuff that you've taught me, man, game changer.
It is.
But what's the most important thing that you could share with the listeners today that would really change their life or change their perspective on facial decoding or body language?
Two things. One is you have to.
Said one, Brian.
I know, but you're two in one.
He's a typical speaker. Yeah.
Yeah. First is you have to determine how you show up, right? You pick out your clothes, but people don't put any other time and effort into how do they walk into a room. Do they walk in with their shoulders back? You know, when they walk in, you walk in with your shoulders slumped, people automatically go, oh, I don't know if I really want to know that person. Another one is like, and I was guilty of this for a really long time. When you walk in, are you squinting because you need to wear glasses? Well, when you come in squinting, you're seen as a foe. So how are you entering the room is very, very important because people who've never met you, within seconds, they determine, do I like you? Do I trust you or not? If you walk in, shoulders slumped, squinting, you're a foe. You know, they don't want to get to know you. That's one part. The other part is, when I'm telling you, think about yourself. Yes, that's good. It's how do I want to show up? How do I set the intention? All those things. The other half is I'm not here for just me. So when you walk in and you meet somebody else, this is the part two, is it's more than just me. You know, we were raised with the golden rule, treat people the way I want to be treated, but you may not want to be treated like I am. And that's where faces come in. And when you can learn to decode facial features and look at somebody else's body language, you get empathy. And you look and you start thinking, how do I connect with the person and make it personalized about them and versus just pitching my product? And pitching your product can be, where do we want to go to dinner? It's not just sales all the time. That's what people think is, oh, well, this is just sales stuff. No, this is life skills. You know, everything in life is a negotiation. But if I'm sitting here like I'm extremely visual and I only use visual language, well, I'm isolating 2/3 of the people because people are auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Well, if I only use visual terms and I'm always showing pictures and things, people want to hear it. They don't want to see it.
Yep.
Or they want to touch it. You know, they're hands-on learners. And that's what you have to learn is to focus on who you're talking to and think, how do I connect to the person is the most important part because we only do things with people we know, like, and trust.
Totally.
Yeah.
Auditory, visual, kinesthetic.
I say kinesthetic, and I was told the other day that people don't know what that is. So yes, that's why I now say hands-on learners, but yes, kinesthetic.
Dude, when you taught me that, when I rolled out Impact Effect Community, I actually had every single person who joined take the test so I could understand how we can impact them at the highest level.
100%.
Because if I'm out just, doing slideshow, and everything's like, look at this visual prompt, whatever, and people don't get the opportunity to actually do it or use it, so then I'm missing, and I want to impact them.
Right.
Why? So I had to build this to where we did some of this, and then I was doing sound bites that were just audio.
Right.
Because people were like wanting to put them on in the car or walking, and it was motivation. It was me telling true stories. It was me showcasing some people I look up to. And then the hands-on piece of like, let's get in the room, come to my private dinner, come to, a small intimate event. Let's actually go back and forth. And that's why I love what we're doing tonight at the Decoding the Deal dinner.
Yeah.
Because it's some PowerPoint stuff. It's us sitting down at the table having conversations one-on-one, and it's partnerships where people are actually going to learn and then go do it immediately after.
Yes. So they're going to hear it, they're going to see it, and we're giving them activities for the action hands-on kinesthetic learners. Absolutely.
I love it.
Well, it's because the way we met Janine Driver, right? If I want to talk to Janine, I have to send her a voice text or I have to FaceTime her because she wants to hear it. If I send her a regular text or I send her memes, silence.
It's so funny that we both connect with Janine the same way, and we both realize that because, dude, 100%. She FaceTimed me at like 7 a.m. the other day, laying in bed, and we had a 45-minute FaceTime, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But if I texted her and said, my house is on fire,
Oh, she wouldn't.
she might
Yeah.
not even respond.
Right.
You know?
And
Shout out to Janine Driver. What an amazing human, huh?
It is.
Amazing human.
She's incredible. Well, she gave me my very first stage ever. You know, it was in Bradley, who you know.
Yeah.
I was in Brad's closer school. Janine was one of the guests, and somebody that was working with Brad, Jenna, said, "Oh, you need to meet Janine," and she introduced us. And we just got to talk, and we became friends. And I told her, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna buy a ticket to Brad's event, so I can come hang out with the speakers." And she goes, "No, you're not." And she hung up. And she called me back. She's like, "Hey, you're not doing that." And I go, "Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to come see you." You know? And she goes, "No, you're coming as a speaker." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, I just talked to Brad, and I'm giving up 15 minutes of my time to give you your first ever stage."
Wow.
And I sucked, but it was empowering at the same time.
Wow.
And I say I sucked because it's important for everybody to know that when you see somebody on stage, they sucked before you saw where they are now.
Yeah.
Like my first time up, the microphone was shaking. You know, I didn't really know what I was doing. All my PowerPoints had too many words instead of pictures. And so what happens is if you have too many words, people are reading the words instead of watching you speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you have to learn all these things over time. But yes, I got distracted. Janine is amazing. The same thing. So I've never met Brock, right? But I'm here for Brock's event also. And what does Brock do? He sends voice texts. So what do I do if I want to talk to Brock? If I send him a text, he'll respond eventually. If I want to get him faster, send him a voice text.
Totally.
So you just have to learn, who do you send memes to? Who likes pictures? Who likes text? Who wants a phone call? You know, and if I want to talk to that person, it's up to me to decide what's the best way that they're going to answer.
And I will also add, anybody who is like, oh, I have to figure this out. Yes, you want to start to look at it and start to see how they respond to you.
Right.
But you can also ask them. Like, actually, for me, I hate voice memos.
Yes.
I hate it.
Mhm.
I want to move fast. I want to read it. I want to respond. I don't want to sit there and listen to it for 3 minutes. So for me, I don't actually enjoy it. But I just ask people.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you like voice memos? Do you hate them? That question right there will determine if I voice memo you or text you.
100%.
But you have to pay attention to that stuff. And I think that's the skill in itself is, are you even looking for this? Are you even asking these questions when you connect with someone?
Anybody who's been in sales, like if you're going through, you're doing the CRM or anything, it's always, oh, well, what's their birthday? What's their favorite color? What's their dog's name? But they don't think, what's the way that this person wants to be talked to? And that's one of the things is it's just paying attention. Like you said, you ask people, you don't even have to ask people. People will tell you. When I pick up the phone and I hang up the phone and say, okay, I'll see you later. Well, I will see you later. Not great talking to you. I look forward to hearing from you again. People will tell you how to talk to them through their language because we don't realize we're saying it, but we're telling other people, this is how to talk to me. This is how to do things on a regular basis. We're just not taught to pay attention.
Active listening.
You just beat me to it. Active listening is more important than it's ever been.
Ever.
Yes.
Especially in today's day and age.
Because people don't feel seen and heard. So if you're the person that can make that happen for someone, it changes lives. Like absolutely changes lives. I just did a pitch for a TED Talk and the talk was on momentum. And so the big thing was momentum is that we think it's like, oh, it's one action. It's one thing. It's not. It's slow miscommunications that lead to people feeling unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. That's where we hit walls and stalls and all those kinds of things. And that's when we lose momentum. Like you ever been working on a deal, like it's great, everything's moving and there's a miscommunication. What happens? Everything stalls.
Yep.
And it's that miscommunication. Well, a lot of times it's because we're just communicating the way that we communicate and we think, and we're not thinking, how does that person think? What do they want? And I'm not saying be a chameleon, don't be yourself. I'm saying you pepper in some of what they need and you pepper in some of what you need. But it's a very, very simple analogy. I'm a simple analogy guy. That is, if I went to another country and I only spoke English, the communication isn't going to be there. But if let's say I go to Mexico, Spanglish is better than just English. Some Spanish words, some English words. But when you try to speak somebody else's language, they try to speak yours as well. So when I was younger, I'd go to other countries and if they didn't speak English, well, I'd speak English louder. And, it doesn't work very well. But when you try and learn basic phrases, even if you don't say it right, they see that you're trying. And if that's the whole thing, you're a coach, you help people with their business. If people don't try, what do? You drop them as a client. It's the same thing with people.
Totally.
If people see that you're trying to work with them, they'll make an effort.
Totally.
But if you're not trying to make an effort and you're just doing things the way you want to do it, then people go, I'm not the right person for you. That's in dating, that's in coaching, that's in everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And it's also like, for me, I think it's, you can bend
Yes.
and you can work with people and still get the same outcome, still get the same point across, still get them to understand what you're trying to convey.
Right.
But how you convey it is if they're going to understand it or not, or want to be open to understand, right? We talked about open hand. It's like you need to communicate at a level so they are open to receive that auditory communication as well.
Yeah.
With the active listening stuff, do you have any tricks, tips, cheat codes that you can kind of share with someone? I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but I know like when someone says their name, I think there's a stat out there like 85% of people can't remember their name. So I have a trick for that, but I want to hear any tips and tricks on active listening that you might be able to share with the audience today.
Sure. Learn from my pain. When I was going through my divorce, we went through what's known as a mygotherapy. So we were separated. We're trying to decide if we're going to stay married or not. And in a mygotherapy, you go, this cup is yellow or this cup is brown with a white lid. And that's person A says. And person B says, I heard you say that this cup is brown with a white lid. Is that correct? And you go, yes. And then you move on to something different. It's that simple. Is before you speak, let the other person know, hey, I was listening, by repeating a story. And then go, oh, okay, now it's my turn to talk. But what you want to make sure is, hey, did I understand you right before it's my turn to talk? That's the real, it's very simple. And people will tell you, but people stop talking when they don't feel heard. But if you're just like, oh, really? Okay, did I make sure I heard this right? So the two powerful words that you can say is so you. So you're saying that when you do that, it's just letting people know, hey, I heard what you said. I just want to make sure I understood it. That's part of active listening. If you just start talking about it, then people don't.
You were talking about how you say things, and you earlier in the podcast, and you switched a couple words around. I think for me, I loop back to people with different tonality. So, for instance, if you said like, I love cheese pizza, and then you said a bunch of other stuff, and then it was my turn to talk because I don't want to interrupt you. By the way, I think I was the #1 interrupter in the world for about 35 years of my life. I'm 36.
Yeah.
So if you interrupt people, there is plenty of time to fix it. I'm not perfect, but I was awful at this, right? And it came from insecurity. It came from trying to control things, right? A different podcast, different story. But when I loop back what you said, like, dude, you love cheese pizza too?
Yeah.
Right there, you just felt heard and seen. I brought a different tonality to the situation and great energy, and then I go talk. And you might say, yeah, who doesn't? And I'm like, yeah, who doesn't, man? All right, so do you want to go to Broadway tonight, or do you want to go to Midtown, or do you want to go to Germantown, right? Like, I can still bring what I was going to bring to the conversation, but bringing that tonality and bringing that upbeat energy to it.
Right.
And the other thing I learned too, because I know you've experienced this, I know probably everybody listening has experienced this, too much energy is fake as fuck.
Oh, yes.
Too much energy is fake as fuck.
Yeah.
And you have to find that balance, and all that takes is practice.
Right.
But it's got to be real too. Like, I might not say that if you said I like cheese pizza, because that's kind of dull, and I'm like, but I might say, dude, you love cheese pizza?
Yeah.
Have you ever had the Meat Lovers Pizza at Godfather's down the street in Nashville and blah, 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 right? At least I can bring different energy to it, even if it is dull. And I'm not super excited about the cheese pizza, but I use that active listening to then transition into how excited I am about Godfather's Pizza and the Meat Lover down the street,
Yeah. So you found a commonality, and then you kind of branched off from that. And that's what all the hostage negotiation books, everything else talk about, is you have to listen to people's words. So for example, if I kept saying, oh, this shoulder's been just killing me, and all that, and it's been killing me, and I'm just, it's killing me all the time. Well, if somebody uses a word over and over again, it's an emotional word for them. So what is it? Killing is the word. So if I said, oh, so your shoulder hurts? No, I said my shoulder was killing me. People have a key word or a phrase that they repeat all the time. If you use that one, they're like, oh, they're listening to me because they know their words, kind of like they know their own name.
Dude, that just blew my mind. I say wicked, obviously, because
Boston.
I'm from Boston. And I love when other people say wicked.
Yes.
And I key into it, and it brokers the relationship.
Absolutely.
Like Chase, our director of marketing and here at Music City Work Club, like, he said it the other day, and I was like, yeah. and he's not from Boston, but he either picked up on it or he was messing or joking with me. And whatever it was,
a connection.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. Man, super cool. Super cool. All right. Eyebrows,
Yes.
cheeks, chins.
Yes. I like
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me. Decode this face.
I want to, because your audience can't see everything, but yeah, we'll talk about what we talked about lunch day, and that is how yours have changed. So what's funny is you didn't know this until I said it at lunch day, but I grabbed an older photo of you on LinkedIn. That's what we're going to talk about in the presentation tonight. But in the older photo, your eyebrows are rounded. So it's the picture that's currently on your LinkedIn, but looking at you now, your eyebrows are becoming angled. And I show a picture of me when I was 18 versus 38, how mine became angled. Angled eyebrows are, what's my angle? Help me understand it. Then I can figure out how to help other people. And so what you used to do before was take care of other people first before you took care of Jim, right? And that's where your eyebrows changed. And that's why today I was looking, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I just looked at the picture of you and it was rounded eyebrows in the picture. And so you'll see that at the dinner tonight. But our faces are constantly changing, and that's why it tells us, where's the person today?
Wow.
And what's kind of crazy about this is everybody's like, oh, it's a cool parlor trick. And I'm like, no, it's so much more than that.
Okay, so this is 100% true.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
When we met, I think this photo I know, a few years ago, they were round. It was taking care of everyone, and it burned me out, man.
Yeah.
It burned me out.
I'll show you.
It burned me out. I felt that I needed to truly understand partnerships.
Right.
I need to truly understand how people define collaboration, right? And understand truly where people were going or what the vision was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I know you guys can't really see it, but go look up Jane's LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. Check me out on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Shoot that follow or whatever it is these days. Connects. Yeah.
How do you not know it's connect? You teach human connection. You should know this term.
Because it's bullshit, okay? Hitting that button is not connection. Hitting that button is some fake shit online. And what you should do is actually spend 15 minutes, look at someone's profile, understand value, shoot them a connection, not a sales pitch, on how you can provide value to them.
Yeah.
Based on something that's about them, not their business, not the deal they closed or the partnership. Like, go read back. And I've done this. I actually did this for everybody coming to the dinner tonight.
Yeah.
I went back and I read posts, because some people won't post a lot of personal stuff on LinkedIn, but you will find one if you give the time and attention and to understand, like, okay, how does that person feel? What's important to them, right? Like, someone who's posting their kids on LinkedIn, which is a professional setting, tells me something about them in their personal life. They love on their kids, or they're learning from their kids, or they're teaching their kids. Still content that can be on LinkedIn, right? Because life and business is all the same, at least in my opinion. Yeah. So yeah, just went on a rant about that. Sorry, everybody who's sending me sales pitches on LinkedIn. I will not answer. It's not connection, but I still love you for your effort.
Oh, the ones that drive me nuts are they add you. I'm so excited to connect to you. What do you do? I'm like, you reached out to me. I didn't reach out to you. Why are you asking me? Like, so it just drives me nuts.
You know what I started doing lately is responding and being like, hey, let's get on a call. I can help you.
Right.
Close more sales, because this is not the way to do it. And even so much lately, it's like, hey, you forgot to edit and make your ChatGPT sales pitch real and authentic.
Yeah.
Did you edit it? And people have been honest with me. They're like, oh, you're right. I just copy and paste it. I'm like, let's go on a call and talk about real connection.
Yes.
Because connection is sales.
Right.
If I can connect with you, and I can learn what you need, and I can actually have something to offer to speed up the process of you learning, you growing, you enhancing, you going to the next stage, then I've now connected with you. And ethically, I feel completely okay and content to then offer you something that I know will help you, because I've spent enough time to understand if it would or wouldn't. But the key word here is ethics.
Yes.
I don't sell stuff to people that will never use it, don't want it, or don't need it. And I know that because I connect first.
Right.
And then I offer an opportunity to engage at a higher level with a product or a service.
So I'll give you a simple example. Somebody hit me up on LinkedIn the other day. Hey, I saw your stuff. It's so great. You should consider doing a course. I'm like, I have a course. Oh, do you have courses? Yeah. Where are they hosted? I'm like, on your platform? Yeah. So it was somebody who just, I get it. They're excited about something. They reached out, but they didn't research me to even see where's my course hosted. It was hosted on their platform.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I said, yeah. And they're like, oh, do you know about all the new things we have? I'm like, yeah, I talked to this person. They told me about it. They're like, okay, now.
Yeah.
Because when I name dropped who it was, they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. But people do that all the time.
All right. Last question before we wrap up. Yeah. Talk to me about chin, lips, nose. I know that's a lot.
It's a lot.
But
so we'll give
or pick
ones.
one.
Yeah. We'll go with simple ones. We talked about eyebrows before. So eyebrow height tells you how fast does somebody make a decision. And the reason that I stick in when I'm in a keynote and I've only got 60 minutes to really teach people something, I teach eyebrows and eyes. Why? Because eye contact is a lost art. And so I teach high eyebrows need more time to make a decision. Lower eyebrows make decisions fast. Well, then what shape are their eyebrows? And there's 3 basic shapes of eyebrows. So there's straight eyebrows, get straight to the point. Facts, figures, data. Angled eyebrows like we both have. What's my angle? Help me understand it so then I can help other people. I'm constantly reading and learning new things to teach the audiences. Then rounded eyebrows, like you said, that used to have rounded eyebrow people, think about the people around them first and themselves second. Well, so then you know how to talk to somebody. So if they've got straight eyebrows, don't make it a long story. Get right to the point. If they have angled eyebrows, help them understand what's the benefit for them to then figure out how to help other people. And if they got rounded eyebrows, you talk about other people winning first and them winning second. And the reason I teach, again, eyebrows lead to eye contact. So even like right now, I'm looking at your eyebrows, not your eyes, but I get credit for eye contact, right? So it's a hack. It's a cheat sheet of way to do it. But there's 150 different features on your face and 43 muscles in your face that are constantly moving and changing those features. And it was part of the academic system until Henry VIII had it taken out of schools because he said, I don't like the idea that beggars and vagabonds can use this against their fellow man. And he took a skill away from us because as more AI and automation comes into play, connection goes away. Now, like, it was funny, the way that I do my social media posts, I write it and then I put it into ChatGPT and say, make it sound good. Yeah. And somebody came up to me the other day and I said, you have a bunch of emojis in your post. I know it's all AI written. I said, it's actually not. I said, I write it out and then I say, add to it and put in some. So I'm actually going to have to cut out as many emojis as I tell. So now I tell ChatGPT only put 3 max in. Yep. Because everybody assumes it's AI. And there's a disingenuousness of if people think everything is automation, they stop paying attention. Mm-hmm. So if you're watching social media trends right now, they say that we have about 1.5 years left to get our personal branding done. And so many people are just going to have AI versions of themselves out there that they won't get any attention because they didn't build a personal brand first. Yep. So right now, like what did we do today? All videography the whole day. So people can see what a day in the life of is like because people have to know you versus just the talking head that they see on Instagram. Totally. So we've got to focus now on getting yourself out there. One of the biggest things I did wrong, and there was a reason for it, is I did everything as subtle skills instead of Brian Galke. And so now if you go look at subtle skills, 193,000 followers or 198,000 followers, whatever I'm at. But if you go look at Brian Galke, 4,000. And so I did it opposite, but that's because I had a corporate job and we did government work. And so I couldn't have my name on things because I would take days off work to go speak, right? So there's never a conflict of interest or anything like that. We'll do a whole other podcast about how that went down. But so I'm still having a personal brand, even though I've been speaking for 3 years. Yeah. Because people know me as Subtle Skills now as Brian Galke. And it doesn't help that nobody can say Galke, but you get the idea. But I forget where I went on that whole tangent. But you have to learn to focus on other people. Yes. Soft skills are more important than ever. So if you look at the World Economic Forum, they say the skills of the future are soft skills, emotional intelligence skills. Skills that teach you how to interact with other people will become so much more valuable. Totally. Look at 1.5 years ago, a prompt engineer can make 300,000. Now prompt engineers make nothing because AI has gotten to where you talk to it and it doesn't need a prompt engineer. Yep. It's growing. People used to go to school for computer science. Why? I don't even have to code. I wrote an app for the flashcards. Yep. On Lovable. Yep. And so what I did is I scanned the flashcards, put them in, said create an app. It took me about 2 days. That would have cost me $20,000 to $40,000 and it would take me 6 months. Yep. And it cost me $20 in 2 days. So those skills that we used to revere, and it happens all the time. So when the industrial age came up, farming went away. You have to learn to be a factory worker. I know we got to cut this short. But skills have to constantly evolve. And if you're not learning people skills, you're being left behind.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, people are power.
Mm-hmm. Why
Yeah.
is this podcast so powerful? Because we're in the room together.
Yeah. And my newest videographer, he's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
He keeps telling me, grandpa style, like get the cell phone out
Yeah.
as if you barely know how to use it and you're 90 years old, and just shoot real raw content.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, he can make amazing stuff and he can make it look perfect and great.
Yeah.
But how real is that with the world we live in with AI?
Mm-hmm.
So from video to marketing to content
Yeah.
to speaking to connection to I want tacos and my wife wants chicken for dinner.
Yes.
You have to understand how to connect deeper using facial decoding, using body language, micro expressions,
Yes.
and true communication.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, Brian
Thanks
Galke.
for
I
having me.
appreciate you, brother.
Always.